Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana market update video. Today is the 13th of December. Hope you all are doing well out there. Today we are going to talk about the Stitch box that I hinted at a couple days ago, and then we're going to talk about a few things market related. This product is really cool. For those of you who did not see on the EU Continental stream, they did kind of like a lore cast, if you will. They just showed some upcoming events. They mentioned that Oceania is going to be getting their own Disney Lorcana qualifier, which is really cool. They announced some other stuff. The next two sets were announced, and then they announced this particular product here, which is, it looks like a Lilo and Stitch kind of gift box. What's really cool about this that I like is it's a completely new design, right? So in terms of the box, it doesn't mimic a trove, it doesn't mimic a gift box, anything like that, or a booster box. Obviously, it is its own individual packaging, no starter deck like form or anything like that. I just like that they're constantly kind of redesigning what they're bringing to the market. I think that's really cool. In addition, if you've been around for a while, you know that I really want to see them continue to evolve their art. And in this box, you get the full art Lilo and Stitch. Now, it's not an Enchanted, right? Which I don't want. I think the Enchanteds are great where they're at. Leave them be. But we need some sort of mid-range. And I want these included in sets. This is definitely, just coming from a specific product. But I think it's really cool to see them kind of explore this, going the full art route, including it, a promo exclusive in the gift set box. And hopefully they start incorporating this stuff into the sets. I think that having a mid-range pool between Legendary and Enchanteds would go a long way for the collectors, and I think that would, open more boxes, make singles more affordable. I think there's a lot to be said there, and so I hope to do it. And then last but not least, something really cool about this box is you get packs from set 2, Rise of the Floodborn, all the way through set 6, Azurite Sea. So you get a combination of 5 different booster packs. Obviously, first chapter not included. That would probably raise the value a little bit too much. My guess is that this thing's going to MSRP for, I don't know, closer to like $35, $40. I expect it to be cheaper than a Trove. We'll see what that looks like. Trove does give 8 packs, plus all the the dice and the separators and things like that. You obviously get some unique kind of card organizer separator things down here. Cool art on them. But at the end of the day, I expect this to be maybe $29.99. I think some of the gift sets have been that price historically. That would be a pretty good price point for this, in my opinion. You get the full art, you get the 5 packs, get some separators. Once again, it's just another good ancillary product as people go through this vertical integration of seeing movies, going to the Moana 2 promo, getting the promo, they go to Target, now they see this, maybe they see the gateway product, etc. Just more products on the shelves that are cool and unique, I think will serve a lot of greater good in terms of growing Lorcana and the overall strength of the game. And the art looks gorgeous, so I'm all for it. Very excited for this product, and can't wait for it to be released. So be on the lookout for that. Next up, the Moana 2 movie promo. Obviously a card that I've been very excited for. Wanted to take a look at where they've been going recently. This is, as always, a testament not to FOMO into things. These were going for much more earlier on than they are now, but now they're at a pretty good rate. So you can see a 5-pack sold for $25. We had a 25-pack sell for $185. Individual cards selling for $6, $10, $8. I think recently even $6.50 with the $2. So roughly let's say a range of $6 to $10 all in to get the promo, which I think is very good. The fact that it's cheap list early does tell me that there's plenty out there, and so I would forecast that this card goes down a little bit in the short term. So I mean, look, it's already $6, $7, $8, whatever. It's not that crazy, but I do expect it to be cheaper just for those of you who are looking to get one. Looks like they even have some Moana 2 Chinese Disney movie promos, which is unique. I didn't even know that they were getting it in China. I did not see that on the announcement, but there you go. I wonder, man, that's interesting. I'm always intrigued of how do they have Chinese cards already? Like that, I don't know. That's just wild. Maybe they traveled to China and just got home. I don't know. But regardless, even Chinese Moana 2 movie promos out there. But just to put it on your guys' radar, anywhere $5 to $10. I do think it's going to come down a little bit, but overall, a lot of movement, a lot of traction, and a very cool card. So glad they did it. Once again, I've made my gripe about the rollout, but overall, I think I'm very glad that card exists. Moving up next, it looks like I think it's Disney Springs Disney Springs is the place for all your Inkland needs. I've been on record as saying that I think Inklands is the most printed set in existence, and this just backs that up even further. I mean, they've got just trays of booster packs of Into the Inklands, and so like I have sealed cases of Into the Inklands, and that is one that without a doubt I wish I would have waited on. Now, I didn't know that it was going to be printed into oblivion, but this is the set. Like, if there was a set that I would say is overprinted, I think without a doubt it's Into the Inklands. Now, I don't know if it's because maybe when this was going through production, the hype of the first chapter was out, and so they knew they were gonna have to reprint the first chapter, and so maybe they just ran a whole nother wave of Into the Inklands. I don't know how fast forward they're printing, right? They probably have sets designed into 8, 9, 10, whatever. But in terms of actual production, I don't know how far ahead they move. But man, it just seems like Into the Inklands is a never-ending pit of cards. If you remember, this is where the Amazon dumps first started. There's been a lot of Into the Inklands boxes under $100 over the months. I almost said over the years. We are not in the years yet, but there's just a lot of Into the Inklands out there. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, look, it'll dry up at some point. That at some point is probably it's a lot further down the road than the first chapter in set 2, and at this point maybe even some of the sets that came after it. Now I would think that those sets were printed to a similar amount, but I don't know. If life on the line, I think Inklands is the most printed set in existence to date. Maybe shortly behind the first chapter. Because that got that full second reprint, which probably caught it up to a lot of the more recent sets here. But regardless, Disney Springs is the place for all of your Inklands needs. Apart from that, guys, a couple market-related stuff. Azurite Sea is still doing very well. Expected value is around like $107. It's dropping off a couple bucks every day. So nothing out of the ordinary there. I do think it's going to get below 100. But for now, I mean, you can get a box for 105, right? And you can still open it or 110. So that's right at about expected value. So we're finally hitting a breakpoint, a month after release of the expected value of the box being around the same price or maybe even lower than the price of the box, which I feel like is held on for longer than most. But once again, I talked about it in the last video. That might just be recency bias. But we are still seeing a ton of movement with some of the cards. You Came Back is down at 5 listings still. This is one that when it gets pulled, people aren't selling it, and then any sort of little sales can make the needle move so much because there's such a low quantity. We have one on the market for 127, then 155, and then we're up at 175, which would put up there with some of the biggest in the set. Most recent sale was 130. So if you pull a You Came Back, very, very good card to sell right now, especially for an action card. You got to think about Along Came Zeus does very well, but it's a song, so it's a little bit different. Baymax still holding strong at 170, it looks like. Let's check the recent sales data on him. 170, 175, 181. Okay, so he saw another kind of, run up there, buyout, whatever you want to call it. Several sales that was a little bit ago. That was what we were looking at last week, our last video. Okay, so not too much volume as of late. 181, 174, 169, but the sellers are holding strong at 170. So that probably is going to move down in the short term, but still performing very well overall, to be honest. When we look at some of the set cards for Azurite Sea, you can imagine the genies of the world still holding very, very strong. Let's check out. Let's include rares. Got to include rares for this set. Let's just hop over to Cold Foil to take a look. Shark Maui's coming down a little bit, 45. Genie sitting at $30. Simba at 24. Baymax at 20. Oswald, once again, I think that D23 Oswald just kind of ruined the haul foil for this guy. $12. Tiana 10, Calhoun 15, Lilo up at 14 for a cold foil super rare. Let's see here. Diablo Obedient Raven up at almost 9. Pretty good for some of these cold foils, gang. Not bad at all, especially for the uncommons and uncommons. Still the Azurite Sea. So we are starting to, we've seen that expected value come down. We are starting to see that correlate into some of these individual high flyers, if you will. So the Azurite Sea, if you remember, it was up at $8 or $9. It is now down below $6 for a cold foil version. Now look, it's a common card, so it should be. But at the end of the day, we are starting to see them move down a little bit. Cheapest Genie on the market looks like it's $17. Is there any shipping on that? $18 for the cheapest just regular Genie. Cold foil is $30. I'd probably just go get the cold foil at that point. Cheapest Calhoun on the market is excuse me, $7.15. And yeah, so we're in a good spot with Azurite Sea. It is decreasing, but that, I mean, look, that comes into effect whenever you see as much open as we did. Going back to the overall, I want to just look at the box prices here. Looking at the overall box price or box sales for Azurite Sea, that was that was a ton of volume due to the Black Friday sale or Cyber Monday sale on TCG Player. We were just seeing hundreds and hundreds of boxes sold. 63, 105, 91, 196, 364, 131, 130, 94. There's a lot of boxes out there. That's only TCG Play, right? So you open that up to the wider scope of people going into their LGSs, people buying through eBay, people buying through Marketplace, people buying from wherever they want, and you're staring at a ton of singles coming onto the market. And so that's kind of where we're at with Azurite Sea right now, continuing to go through that slow downturn into, I'm interested to see where it's going to stable off, because Ursula's return historically has been below 80 since kind of inception. I mean, for the first month or so it wasn't, but it's been below 80 for a long time. Shimmering Skies has kind of been low 80s to mid 80s for a long time. Very interested to see where Azurite Sea shakes out in terms of value. The other three have always been around 100 or higher, give or take, maybe 95. But the other three have always done good in terms of Into the Inklands, Rise of the Floodborn, and then the first chapter. That does speak to the strength of Into the Inklands, right? There's been so much of it. It's so heavy printed. It is everywhere. But it's still holding strong value at around $100, I believe, last I looked. And that's off the back of some of the Along Came Zeus. I think the cheapest card in that, or the cheapest Along Came Zeus right now, is like a couple $100, if I'm not mistaken, 185. Yeah, so some of these cards, incredibly playable. And it's kind of keeping Into the Inklands afloat. Lucky for me. For those of you guys who have been around a while, I opened 2 Inklands boxes for the channel, and I pulled a Long Came Zeus out of both of them, back to back. So that was a nice little. I think I paid like $80 for the box, and pulled a $185 card out of each one. So there you go. Not counting any Robin Hoods or Ursulas or whatever else. So just got lucky on those. Open Inklands, guaranteed. Get 2 Long Came Zeuses. So. But apart from that, guys, I did want to check in on our first chapter booster box sales. We haven't looked at this for some time. I haven't looked at it for a couple of days here. Looks like we were down below 200, or 300 rather. So 299, 295. This was yesterday. Still, it just an a preposterous amount of volume, guys. This is post the huge sales that happened on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And then we're seeing sales in the mid 300s, upper 290s, up to 312 consistently here, continuing to eat through the listings. There's no listings on this page that have more than 4. One listing has 4, then the rest of them have 2 or 1, and that's going to put us up to about 320. So the Lorcana machine continues to move along here. We're seeing a lot of volume, 42. As it relates to list, 42, 42, 14, 24, 22. So I would say the average right now in terms of boxes per day outside of that sales period is probably, close to 8-ish, which honestly has remained pretty consistent. You can look at the graph here. A little bit of dip leading up to the Cyber Monday sale, which was expected. People were going to get their 10% back. But before and after, you match those lines up pretty consistently there in terms of just the overall demand. And that's with the box. I mean, this box is, relatively speaking, at all-time highs. Before we got the first big restock in March, whenever we got the big restock in March that crashed it was at 310. And so, fast forward another, 7 months already past that. And we're back up to all-time highs. And obviously some have sold at 330, 340, 350, whatever. But relatively speaking, we're very close to all-time highs. And we're still seeing a consistent sell-through rate there. And so that speaks to just the sheer demand and collectability of this box. Look, if you just want to have some fun and open it and chase that Elsa, I would say go for it. I definitely don't recommend opening this box. Things like Azurite Sea or Shimmering Skies, if you can get a good deal, Ursa's Return, etc. I think those make sense to open, even Floodborn and Inklands. But the first chapter is just the expected value and the price of the box are moving in complete opposite directions. The cards in that set are so affordable in terms of the playable cards. I just wouldn't recommend opening it. Now, look, I don't want to be the fun police. If you want to chase the Elsa, you want to open it, go for it. It's a fantastic set. I love opening the first chapter, but at the end of the day, right now, expected value in the price of the boxes are just, they're moving in perpendicular directions, and we don't want that. So I would advise against opening that up. We have seen some movement on some individual enchanteds here lately. I think Tinkerbell. Why do I think Tinkerbell's doing good? Let's go back and filter to near mint. I feel like I saw that she was over 300 again, very close. So 294.99. But listings are going up a little bit. 20 listings for the Tinkerbell, closing in at 300, and then another one that I saw had seen some movement as of late was the Bell Strange but Special Quality KC. Looky there. $250 is the floor here, and I think that's a little bit higher than where it was, or maybe it's pretty consistent. 230s, 240s. Pretty consistent with where it was, to be honest. There were quite a few sales there at 260, 280. Excuse me, that's what I'd seen. We were up at 280 pretty consistently, and then it started to drop back off there. But overall, the first chapter remains incredibly collectible. And so I will just leave you with this, guys. Remember, we are in just an interesting time frame with Lorcana right now. A lot of the cards have came back from their all-time highs, but I think that a lot of the collectability stuff is going to follow the first chapter. You see that demand for that set continues to sell through rapidly. If you've been waiting on an Aurora or a Snow White or whatever to add to your collection, don't use this little lull period as a time to just sit on the sideline, try and stay active, try and stay busy, grind and add to your collection now, because I think bigger and brighter times are ahead, which I mentioned several times. There's just some really cheap promos, really cheap enchanteds. There's some really good deals out there. It's just a great time to get into Lorcana. Obviously, the high-end stuff like the Elsas and Tinkerbells, whatever, all that stuff's really expensive. But some of the lower-end stuff, some of these promos, guys, in the beginning, these cards were selling for like 4 dozen eggs was like a $90 card for months. Rapunzel Gifted Artist was like a $75 to $80 card for months. And so there's some really good deals, and they were being bought and sold. Shoot, the Scrooge McDuck promo, that one was like super rare in the beginning. It was only released in Europe, and it was over $100, and it was being bought and sold on eBay over $100 daily, and now it's like a $10-15 card. So these promos, I say that to say a lot of this stuff is evened out. A lot of these cards are in really good price points. Gaston Arrogant Hunter, another example. Pinocchio was one that was up around 75, currently down at 32. So just a lot more of these promos have came onto the market, and that goes in the same vein for Aladdin Intrepid Commander. I would wait on this. You see this line here, it's going to continue to happen. So right now, 25 is the lowest on the market. This card might be a $10 card, $15 card, $5 card. I don't know, but I would not buy it right now. I think we've got time. Very cool card, definitely one I want to collect. Cool promo, but at the end of the day, just not one that we need right now given the current price point. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back with another video soon. Bye, guys.